Best English Jokes, страница 57. A man named Marty called his son Harry. I have news to tell you. I know it's going to make you sad, but I have made up my mind and there is nothing you can do about it. I have decided to divorce your mother. But Dad, how can that be? The son asked. You have been married for 40 years and you always loved each other. What happened suddenly? Son, I have made up my mind and I don't want you to try to talk me out of it. Okay, the son replied, but promise me that you won't do anything until I come and talk to you in person, and I'm going to ask all of my brothers and sisters to fly in also. All right, said the father, you have my word. Well, said Marty, turning to his wife, I got them all to come in and I didn't even have to pay for the tickets. Joe was a steward for Fly High Airlines. He watched as a lady boarded the plane holding a dog in a cage. Excuse me, said John. Dogs are not allowed on board. You have to check it in with the baggage. The lady wasn't happy, but Joe was an experienced steward and the lady finally checked the dog in with the baggage. Before their arrival, Joe looked at the cage and to his great surprise saw that the dog was dead. Joe quickly sent one of his colleagues out to town to buy a dog that looked exactly the same. Luckily, the colleague arrived with the dog in some time. They quickly changed dogs and relaxed. This isn't my dog, said the lady as soon as she saw it. Страница 58. I'm sure it is, said Joe. I was very careful about where I put it. It's not my dog, screamed the lady. You see, I was bringing my dog to my hometown to have him buried, and this dog is alive. It was raining hard and a big puddle had formed in front of an Irish pub. A man stood beside the puddle holding a stick with a string on the end and shook it up and down in the water. A gentleman asked what he was doing. Fishing, replied the man. Poor fool, thought the gentleman, so he invited the man to have a drink in the pub. Feeling he should start some talk while they were drinking their whiskey, the gentleman asked, And how many have you caught? You're the eighth. On their way to get married, a young Catholic couple gets into a car accident. The couple finds themselves sitting outside the heaven's gates waiting for St. Peter to take them into heaven. While waiting, they began to think, could they possibly get married in heaven? When St. Peter showed up, they asked him. St. Peter said, I don't know. This is the first time anyone has asked. Let me go find out. The couple sits and waits and waited. 2 months pass and the couple is still waiting. While waiting, they begin to think what would happen if it didn't work out. Could you get a divorce in heaven? After yet another month, St. Peter finally returns looking very tired. Yes, he informs the couple, you can get married in heaven. Great, but we also would like to know what if things don't work out. Could we also get a divorce in heaven? St. Peter is red-faced with rage. What's wrong? Asks the scared couple. Oh, come on, St. Peter shouts. It took me 3 months to find a priest up here. Do you have any idea how long it'll take me to find a lawyer? Страница 59. A couple walked into a cheap-looking restaurant. As they were about to sit down, they noticed the seat was a bit dirty. After cleaning up the seat and the table, they sat down. A waitress came over asking them what they wanted. "I'll just take a coffee," said the man. "Me too," said the lady, "and make sure the cup is clean." The waitress returned with their drinks. "Okay," she said, placing down their cups. "Now, which one of you wanted the clean cup?" A religious woman, upon waking up each morning, would open her front door, stand on the porch, and scream, "Praise God." This infuriated her atheist neighbor, who would always make sure to scream back, "There is no God." One morning, the atheist neighbor overheard his neighbor praying for food. Thinking it would be funny, he went and bought her all sorts of food and left them on her porch. The next morning, the lady screamed, "Praise God who gave me this food." The neighbor, laughing so hard he could barely guess the words out, screamed, "It wasn't God, it was me." The lady then screamed back, "Praise God for not only giving me food, but making the atheist pay for it." A married man, Jack, wakes up after a night out drinking with the boys. He doesn't even remember how he got home from the party. As bad as he's feeling, he wonders if he did something wrong. Jack has to force himself to open his eyes, and the first thing he sees is a couple of aspirins next to a glass of water on the side table. Jack sits up and sees his clothing in front of him, all clean. He takes the aspirin and then sees his own surprised face in the mirror. Then he notices a note hanging on the corner of the mirror, written in red with little hearts on it and a kiss mark from his wife. "Honey, breakfast is on the table. I left early to get some food to make your favorite dinner tonight. I love you, darling. Love, Jillian." He goes into the kitchen, and sure enough, there is a hot breakfast, coffee, and the morning newspaper all waiting for him. His son is also at the table eating. Jack asks son what happened last night. "Well, you came home after 3 in the morning, drunk and out of your mind. You fell over the coffee table and broke it." Confused, he asked his son, "So, why is your mother in such a good mood? And why is breakfast on the table waiting for me?" His son replies, "Oh, that. Well, when Mom took you to the bedroom and tried to take your pants off, you screamed, 'Leave me alone. I'm married. I'm married.'" An 80-year-old man was seeing his doctor, and the doctor asked him how he was feeling. "I've never been better," he answered. "I've got a 20-year-old bride who's about to give birth to my child. What do you think about that?" The doctor thought about this for a moment, then said, "Let me tell you a story. I knew a guy who was very fond of hunting. He never missed a season, but one day went out in a bit of a hurry, and he took his umbrella instead of his gun." The doctor continued, "So he was in the forest, and suddenly a bear appeared in front of him. He raised up his umbrella and pointed it at the bear, and do you know what happened?" Confused, the old man replied, "No." The doctor continued, "The bear fell down dead in front of him." "That's impossible," said the old man. "Someone else must have shot that bear." "That's of what I'm getting at," replied the doctor. Страница 61. A magician was working on a cruise ship. Since the people were different each week, the magician did the same tricks over and over again. There was only one problem. The captain's parrot saw the shows each week and began to understand how the magician did every trick. Once he understood, he started shouting in the middle of the show, "Look, it's not the same hat," or "Look, he's hiding the flowers under the table." The magician was furious but couldn't do anything. It was, after all, the captain's parrot. Then, one stormy night in the ocean, the ship unfortunately sank. The magician luckily found himself on a piece of wood in the middle of the sea with the parrot. They looked at each other with hatred, but did not speak a word. This went on for a day, and then 2 days, and then 3 days. Finally, on the fourth day, the parrot said, "Okay, where's the ship?" A group of rich businessmen were having dinner at the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas. "It looks like you're getting a little thinner," said one of them. "I should be," replied the other. "I went on one of these diets. I ate nothing but expensive meat, and would you believe it, in just 2 weeks I lost $30. A recently divorced man comes across a magical genie lamp. Thinking his luck has finally changed, he rubs the lamp and out goes a genie. "I'm an all-powerful genie. You get 3 wishes, but I must tell you that anything you wish for, your ex-wife gets double." So the man thinks for a few moments and asks for his first wish. "I want a big, beautiful house." The genie gives him a new beautiful house, and his ex-wife gets 2 beautiful houses. A few minutes later, he asks for his second wish. "I want $100 million. The genie gives him $100 million, and his ex-wife gets $200 million. On his final wish, he takes some time to really think of what he wants. Finally, he asks for his third wish. "I want you to scare me half to death."